So today I just want to briefly talk about what energy healing or energy work entails and the different paradigms or the different aspects of our being that are touched by it, at least in the way that I work with energy healing. Obviously, energy healing is like meditation or any kind of work. There are as many ways of working with energy as there are people who work it. From my perspective, I think the great gift was faith, trust. When you start working with energy, in some ways, you don't really know what's happening. You can feel, if you're intuitive, you can feel the energy working on you, through you, but you're not quite sure what it's doing. All you can do essentially is to give permission, allow, receive, and relax. Relax and trust. Trust in something that is greater than you, that is beyond your mind to understand. And so usually when I work with energy healing, I touch a number of different aspects of our being. I think of humans as layers, like layers of an onion. And so we can't just work on our minds and our beliefs. We can't just work on our difficult emotions. We can't just work on our body and the tension and the root of disease in our body. Or we can't just work on the obstacles that are happening in our lives, in our relationships. Or even for those who believe that, we can't just work on our karmic wounds and karmic baggages, or on our chakras or energy aspect of our being. To truly transcend and to truly relax into a deep, full, whole-bodied, embodied healing and surrender, we have to work on all of those. And so when I work with energy healing, I tend to touch the physical body, because a lot of trauma, a lot of wounds, a lot of aspect of not feeling okay in ourselves, not feeling okay or safe in our lives, happen at that level, in the body, in the muscles, in the tissues. There's a lot stored there, and I have found that a lot of people cannot quite surrender to being, cannot quite surrender to their soul, to their gifts, to their full expression, to the divine, because something in their body tells them it's not safe, tells them that they have to hang on, that they can't relax, that they don't even belong here, that they don't deserve it, that they're not worthy of it. And so a lot of that is held in the body, beyond just even physical illness and the root of disease. And then I tend to work on the energy body, opening the chakras, releasing wounds, traumas, debris that live there, opening the meridians, allowing essentially the energy to flow through us, to heal us, purify us, nourish us. Once that's worked, once the body's been worked with, once the energy body's been worked with, then I usually move on to the mind and to the emotions, letting go of beliefs that are holding us back, letting go of beliefs that have to do with lack and separation, lack of worth, lack of abundance, disconnection, being separate from our source. And then all the emotions that go with that: fear, shame, anxiety, guilt, anything that makes us feel separate, makes us feel like we don't have access to the infinite blessings and the infinite abundance and goodness that lives within us and around us, to the infinite wisdom and intelligence that is life itself. And oftentimes, like, working already on these, 4 aspects of our being is transformational. And then at that point, there can be a working for those who believe in that and those who find it powerful, a releasing of our karma, anything that we've carried through in this life, in the future lives, in past lives, including doing a lot of work on our ancestors and our ancestral lines. Because I don't believe that what we come into this world with is solely our own. I think we come into this world with the wounds of the world in some way. We come into this world with the wounds of our mothers, our fathers, and their mothers and fathers before that. And part of this work of being human is to heal it all, to face it all, to love it all, to essentially awaken it all to back to source. And so a lot of work on ancestral lines, a lot of work on forgiveness, forgiving ourselves for the way that we haven't had our own back, forgiving others for whatever hurt and abuse have been done to us in this life and in past lives, and maybe even in future lives, since quantum mechanics tells us time doesn't quite exist in the way that we perceive it. And also forgiving those who have trespassed against us, those who have hurt us, disappointed us, betrayed us, abused us, taken advantage of us. In this life, in past lives, in future lives, forgiving ancestors and asking them to forgive each other, essentially doing a tremendous amount of healing and bringing peace and harmony and balance into our whole realm of what it means to be human, both energetically in terms of our soul and past lives and future lives, and both physically in terms of our DNA and cells and what's passed down. And that tends to be a pretty full healing. I also use energy healing or energy work for manifesting. So, if there's some areas in our lives that's particularly stuck, or if there's a project that really holds our heart and we want to put some energy and clear, whatever blockages or whatever beliefs we have about, including unconscious beliefs we have about this project that are getting in our way, or habits that we would like to change, anything essentially that we are invested in has an aspect that has to do with our minds, our beliefs, our feelings about it, and energy. Everything is energy. So, this is the potency of this work, is it can work on every aspect. And for me, it's definitely made aspects of awakening, aspects of understanding the divine in ways that were previously unavailable to me. It also developed a sort of faith that the universe got your back, that the universe is working for your own awakening. Why? Because you are the universe, so it's working for its own awakening. And it literally breaks down the sense of disconnection, the sense of being separate from everything else, the sense of being separate from our past, from our future, from the divine, from each other, from our desires. And so with energy work, there's no boundaries. You can literally go back and heal an event in your past. You can forgive someone who has passed. You can bring energy to your own spiritual path, your own soul path. And I find it, extremely nourishing. And so, I will work more on that. I work primarily with 3 different kinds of energy that for me are different aspects of the divine. And one of them has a very transformational purification type energy to it, and that's a holy fire of creation, or the primordial fire of creation. And then one of the energies is a very nurturing, nourishing energy that brings us back to wholeness. It's very feminine. I call it the unconditional love of the primordial mother. And then the last is the light of awakening, the light of enlightenment. It's about being, it's about wisdom, it's about clarity, it's about freedom and spaciousness, and essentially encountering our own infinity, our own eternity, our own innate infinite wisdom and intelligence, and being permeated and surrounded by that. And I think for a lot of us, including myself, who've worked with more mental paths, there's a certain level of having to suspend our disbelief, of having to turn the part of us that doesn't like anything that's a little new agey, or that doesn't like anything it can't quite touch and see and grasp with our minds and make sense of, so that we can essentially again get out of our own way and allow this work, allow this energy to work us and to purify us and to open us and to surrender us and to enlighten us. So, more to come. I think I'll do one video about these three primordial aspect of perfection or aspect of the divine, and then I'll go into each specifically and do a meditation or healing with each specifically, and then I'll start working on more specific healings for the planet, healings for our physical body, healings for our spiritual path or our life path, healings for the inner child, and different ways that we are stuck, and helping people essentially unwind all of that and let go of wounds and nourish what feels broken and missing and heal what feels damaged and find a sense of peace, wholeness, and belonging with ourselves and with our lives. Thank you.